A president steps up to speak, cameras rolling, the world watching. Then he trips on a flag, flubs a name, or ducks a flying shoe. These slip-ups make leaders look human, and the internet keeps them alive forever. Welcome to Most Embarrassing Presidential Moments Ever Recorded.
I just want to thank everybody, the first responders.
This video unpacks the wildest, most awkward moments from world leaders, all caught on tape. From fumbled handshakes to public spills, these gaffes turn presidents into viral memes.
How you come over on my side?
We've dug up the best, from a shoe-throwing chaos to a leader's teeth-slipping mid-speech. But hold on, the last one is a total shocker, a moment so humiliating, it's burned into history. Stay with us to see these epic presidential fails unfold. Biden's hair-sniffing moment. In 2014, Joe Biden, then vice president, stepped onto a Nevada campaign stage to support Lucy Flores, a candidate for lieutenant governor. As Flores prepared to speak, Biden approached her from behind, placed his hands on her shoulders, leaned in close, and inhaled her hair. She froze, mortified, thinking, "Why is he smelling my hair?" He then planted a slow kiss on the back of her head. The moment, lasting just seconds, left Flores feeling disrespected, as she was there as a professional, not a friend. The incident sparked outrage when she shared her story in 2019.
In any context or any situation with that context, that behavior is just inappropriate, period.
With clips circulating online. Critics called it creepy, and it fueled a wider debate about Biden's personal space violations, with similar stories from other women, like Amy Lapos, who described an uncomfortable nose rub in 2009. Biden denied any inappropriate intent, but the viral moment stuck, amplified by social media and memes. That's one leader's awkward encounter. But what happens when a president turns a diplomatic meeting into a grooming session? Keep watching to find out. Trump flicks Dandruff off Macron's shoulder. On April 24, 2018, President Donald Trump welcomed French President Emmanuel Macron to the White House for a state visit. During a press conference, as cameras rolled, Trump noticed something on Macron's suit. Mid-conversation, he reached over and flicked a speck of dandruff off Macron's shoulder, saying, "We have to make him perfect. He is perfect." Macron's smile froze, clearly caught off guard, as the room filled with awkward chuckles. The moment, caught in high definition, went viral instantly, with social media erupting in memes comparing it to a parent cleaning up a kid before prom. The gesture, meant as a friendly jab, came off as bizarrely personal for a diplomatic event. It left viewers cringing at the breach of protocol between two world leaders. One president's odd move stunned the world, but what happens when a Soundcheck joke sparks global panic? Stay tuned to see. Reagan's Cold War bombing joke. During Soundcheck on August 11, 1984, President Ronald Reagan sat down for a radio soundcheck before his weekly address. Thinking the mic was off, he joked, "I've signed legislation that will outlaw Russia forever. We begin bombing in 5 minutes." The quip leaked, and with the Cold War at its peak, the Soviet Union on edge, the words caused a global stir. Soviet officials condemned the remark, and U.S. allies scrambled to clarify that it was a jest. The White House called it a bad joke, but the damage was done. Headlines screamed of nuclear fears. Reagan's casual slip became a tense reminder of words' weight. A joke shook the world. But what happens when a president gets trapped by a door? Watch on for the next cringe. Bush's locked door exit fail in China. On November 20th, 2005, President George W. Bush held a press conference in Beijing during an Asia-Pacific tour. After answering questions, he thanked the reporters and strode toward a set of double doors to exit. He tugged the handles, but the doors were locked. Bush turned back, flashed a sheepish grin, and muttered, "I was trying to escape." The press corps giggled as an aide pointed him to the correct exit. The moment, captured on video, went viral, with clips racking up millions of views online. Bush later blamed jet lag, but the blunder became a light-hearted symbol of his candid, relatable side. One president got stuck, but what happens when a leader's speech ends in a shocking fall? Find out next. South African VP collapses mid-speech. On September 14th, 2024, South Africa's Deputy President Paul Mashatile, age 62, stood at a podium in Tzaneen, Limpopo, 256 miles northeast of Johannesburg, to honor a local traditional leader's inauguration. As he spoke, the heat overwhelmed him. Mid-sentence, he swayed, then collapsed, shocking the crowd. Video footage spread fast, showing aides rushing him to a hospital. Limpopo's premier, Fofi Ramathuba, a doctor, confirmed he was fine, just dehydrated from the scorching day. The incident, viewed millions of times online, sparked concern about his health, but also memes poking fun at the dramatic fall. Mashatile recovered quickly, but the moment became a viral sensation. A leader's fall grabbed headlines, but what happens when a president mixes up a tragedy with a convenience store? You won't believe what's next. Trump's 9/11 versus 7/11 mix-up. On April 18, 2016, Donald Trump spoke at a rally in Buffalo, New York at the First Niagara Center just before the state's primary. Praising New York's response to the September 11, 2001 attacks, he said, "I was down there and I watched our police and firemen down on 7/11, down at the World Trade Center right after it came down." The crowd barely reacted, but the slip-up went viral. Clips racked up millions of views, with Twitter users mocking the mix-up of a tragedy with a convenience store. Trump's campaign called it a slip of the tongue, but the gaffe stuck, fueling late-night comedy roasts. One leader's words went awry, but what happens when a president's joke lands all wrong? Keep watching for the next blunder. Obama's Special Olympics bowling joke. On March 19, 2009, President Barack Obama appeared on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno in Los Angeles. Chatting about his life in the White House, he mentioned practicing at its bowling alley and scoring a 129. Trying to poke fun at himself, he said, "It's like the Special Olympics or something."
Oh, that's very good, Mr. President.
This is like Special Olympics. It's like,
No, that...
The audience laughed, but the joke bombed. Before the show aired, Obama called Special Olympics Chairman Tim Shriver from Air Force One to apologize, saying he meant no harm. The remark, seen as insensitive, drew criticism from advocates like Sarah Palin, whose son has Down syndrome. Clips spread online, sparking a national debate about words and stereotypes. One president's joke misfired, but what happens when a leader stumbles, literally, on the world stage? Stick around for the next epic fail. Biden's triple trip on Air Force One. Stairs on March 19, 2021. President Joe Biden, then 78, boarded Air Force One at Joint Base Andrews, Maryland, for a trip to Atlanta. Halfway up the tall, red-carpeted stairs, he stumbled, catching himself with his left hand on the railing. Then he tripped again, and a third time, falling to his left knee. Security watched anxiously below. Biden stood, dusted off his shin, and saluted at the top. White House Deputy Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre blamed windy weather, saying, "I almost fell myself." The clip went viral, viewed over 10 million times, sparking memes and Republican jabs about his age. A president's stumbles lit up the internet. But what happens when a leader botches a CEO's name? Don't miss the next gaffe. Trump's Tim Apple named Mixup. On March 6, 2019, President Donald Trump hosted a meeting at the White House with tech leaders, including Apple CEO Tim Cook. Sitting beside Cook, Trump praised his work, saying, "We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple."
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
The room paused and Cook's smile tightened. The gaffe, caught on live TV, exploded online with Twitter users joking about Tim Apple as a new superhero. The clip hit 5 million views in hours. Trump later claimed he said Tim Cook of Apple fast to save time, but Cook leaned into the joke, briefly changing his Twitter name to Tim Apple. The slip became a classic Trump moment, mocked on Saturday Night Live. One name flub stole the show, but what happens when a leader mangles a Bible verse? See the next blunder unfold. Zuma's Bible quote remix in South Africa. In November 2017, South African President Jacob Zuma spoke at an ANC event in Durban, trying to quote Genesis 1 verse 1.
769,820
in the beginning. Instead, he stumbled, saying in the beginning over and over. The crowd laughed, and a doctored video with a voiceover exaggerating his flub hit YouTube, racking up 1.8 million views. Another clip comparing the real and fake versions got 2.7 million more. Zuma, president from 2009 to 2018, was no stranger to verbal slips, but this one became a remix sensation, with songs and parodies flooding the internet. Critics mocked his public speaking, already under fire from past scandals. The gaffe painted him as unprepared on a national stage. That verbal slip echoed online, but what happens when a leader's tantrum shakes the UN? Watch the next wild moment. If you're loving this video, hit the like button and drop a comment with your thoughts. Which presidential gaffe has shocked you most so far? Let us know below. Khrushchevs Shoebanging at the UN. On October 12, 1960, Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev sat at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. During a speech by a Filipino delegate criticizing Soviet policies, Khrushchev got mad. He grabbed his shoe, stood up, and banged it hard on the desk, startling everyone. The room froze as cameras captured the outburst. The act, symbolizing his frustration, made global headlines, with newspapers calling it a tantrum. Some reports say he shouted too, though accounts differ. The moment, one of the UN's most dramatic, became a Cold War legend, showing Khrushchev's fiery temper. That shoe slam shook the world, but what happens when a president shakes hands with thin air? Find out next. Biden's invisible handshake blunder. On April 14, 2022, President Joe Biden, age 79, finished a 40-minute speech at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University in Greensboro. As the crowd clapped, he turned right, extended his hand for a handshake, and found no one there. He paused, looking confused, then wandered the stage briefly. The clip, viewed over 15 million times, sparked a meme frenzy, with critics like Senator Ted Cruz tweeting jabs about Biden's mental sharpness. Fact-checkers noted he was likely gesturing to the audience, but the viral moment fueled Republican attacks and late-night TV skits. That empty handshake went viral, but what happens when a president's mockery crosses a line? Stay tuned for the next shocking gaffe. Trump mocks reporter's disability. On November 24, 2015, Donald Trump, then a presidential candidate, spoke at a rally in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Mocking New York Times reporter Sergei Kovaleski, who has arthrogryposis, a condition affecting arm movement, Trump flailed his arms and said, "You gotta see this guy. I don't know what I said. I don't remember."
To see this guy. I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
The clip, replayed millions of times, drew outrage for ridiculing Kovaleski's disability. Trump claimed he didn't know Kovaleski's condition, but the reporter said they'd met multiple times. The backlash dominated headlines, with disability advocates slamming Trump's insensitivity. That cruel jab stunned the crowd, But what happens when a president dodges a scandal with a grammar lesson? Keep watching for the next wild slip. Clinton's is grammar lesson during Lewinsky scandal. On August 17, 1998, President Bill Clinton faced a grand jury in Washington, D.C. over his affair with White House intern Monica Lewinsky. Asked about denying a sexual relationship, he said, "It depends on what the meaning of the word is."
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
The room went silent. His lawyerly dodge, meant to sidestep perjury, became a national joke. The affair, revealed in January 1998, led to his impeachment for lying under oath. Clips of the is moment, viewed millions of times, fueled late-night comedy and public outrage. Clinton's wordplay didn't save him from a $90,000 fine. That verbal twist stunned the nation, but what happens when a leader's teeth betray him mid-speech? Watch the next shocking moment. North Korean leader's false teeth. Mishap. In September 2011, North Korean leader Kim Jong-il, then 69, gave a speech at a Workers' Party conference in Pyongyang. As he addressed thousands, his false teeth reportedly slipped out mid-sentence, clattering to the podium. The crowd gasped, and state media cut the broadcast instantly. A brief clip leaked online, hitting 3 million views before North Korea's censors scrubbed it. Kim, who ruled from 1994 until his death in 2011, quickly recovered, but the moment became a rare crack in his carefully crafted image. Defectors later said dental care in North Korea was poor, with many elites using ill-fitting dentures. That dental slip shocked a nation. But what happens when a president faces flying shoes? Don't miss the next wild moment. Bush dodges flying shoes in press conference. On December 14, 2008, President George W. Bush held a press conference in Baghdad, Iraq, alongside Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. As Bush spoke, Iraqi journalist Muntadar al-Zaidi, aged 29, shouted, "This is for the widows and orphans," and hurled his shoes at him. Bush ducked twice, dodging both with quick reflexes. Security tackled al-Zaidi, who was jailed for 9 months. The clip, viewed over 50 million times, sparked global memes and protests, with shoes symbolizing disrespect in Iraqi culture. Bush laughed it off, saying, "I saw a size 10 coming at me." That dodge saved face. But what happens when a president's words spark a firestorm? See the next gaffe unfold. Biden's "You ain't black" comment on May 22, 2020, Joe Biden, then 77, joined the Breakfast Club radio show in New York, hosted by Charlemagne Thaw God. Near the end of the 18-minute interview, Charlemagne pressed for more time. Biden, rushed by an aide, snapped, "If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black."
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
The clip, viewed over 20 million times, sparked fury. Critics, including Senator Tim Scott, called it condescending. Biden apologized hours later, admitting he was too cavalier. The gaffe hurt his campaign, which relied on 81% black voter support in polls. That remark ignited a storm. But what happens when a president's shoe steals the spotlight? Catch the next cringeworthy moment: Trump's toilet paper shoe surprise. On October 4, 2018, President Donald Trump, age 72, stepped out of his limousine at Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport to board Air Force One for a rally in Rochester, Minnesota. As he climbed the stairs, a piece of toilet paper stuck to his left shoe, flapping with each step. The clip, viewed over 50 million times, sparked a Twitter storm, with users like Anna Navarro joking, "Comic relief." Nobody told Trump, who waved unaware at the top. An aide picked up the paper after it fell. The gaffe became a viral metaphor for his presidency's chaos. That sticky moment went global, but what happens when a president calls the wrong leader at a summit? Watch the next blunder. Biden calls Zelensky President Putin at NATO summit. On July 11, 2024, President Joe Biden, aged 81, spoke at the NATO summit in Washington, D.C. to introduce Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin," naming Russia's leader who invaded Ukraine in 2022. Gasps filled the room.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Biden corrected himself, saying, "President Zelensky, I'm so focused on beating Putin." Zelensky quipped, "I'm better," shaking Biden's hand. The clip, viewed over 30 million times, fueled Republican criticism of Biden's mental fitness, with Representative Jerry Carl calling him unfit. Russian media mocked the summit as a farce. That name slip stunned leaders, but what happens when a president's body betrays him on live TV? See the last shocking gaffe. South Sudan, President's public urination incident. On December 13, 2022, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir, age 71, stood for the national anthem at a road opening ceremony in Juba. As cameras rolled, a dark stain spread down his gray trousers, forming a pool at his feet. He looked down, unaware at first, before aides noticed and the state broadcast cut away. The clip, never aired on TV, went viral, hitting 10 million views. Critics like Kenyan lawyer Esther Angawa called Kiir unfit to lead, while others like Nigerian Senator Shehu Sani cited health issues or extreme patriotism. 6 journalists were detained for leaking it, sparking global outcry. We've reached the end of the video. Did you like it? Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more. Comment below which presidential blunder was your favorite. Share your thoughts.